Hi, welcome back. This is Fredrik from Tektronix. I'm going to give you a short tour today around the new scope, an SX series scope. And the model I'm using right now is a 1-channel 70 GHz, 2-channel 33. I'm just going to give you a hint of what's new on the SX platform in general. To be able to really verify our excellent performance on the 70 gig, you need other equipment than I have today. So I'm using an AWG to produce a 25 gigabit pattern. That's more or less it. So let's start from the beginning. I do the setup here. I'm using channel 2 and I will call that 60 gigahertz attenuator, because this is actually how I needed to connect it. And also the AWG has a SMI out. So, and we take display on. Oh, okay. Sorry. So it's on. I go in here and I set the bandwidth to 60. There it is. Here we are, and I probably need to go to vertical scale just to change a little bit to 10 millivolt. Here you go. So this is the initial test. The next test we need to do is to set up the trigger. So we have a trigger, and the source should be this one. And we probably need to go into glitch here, source 1, just to make sure. And we go here, A only, and options, we go in normal. So in this case, trigger on anything that is shorter, and we would just go down shorter and shorter and shorter. And when we reach around the 50 picosecond, it's hard to see here. I can try to zoom in this. It will trigger on only the short pulses. So if I go and mark all and do a stop, then you can see that these are the ones that is shorter than 90. Sorry, 90. So let's go and put it to 50-50, and we just do run again, and we do a stop. You can see it will mark out all the short bursts. It's really fine to do that. It's really easy. So that means that we can capture the shortest UI in a 25 gigabit link. But what I do really like is the possibility to also get a more stable trigger. This is a PRBS11 pattern, so I'm able here to go to width, and if we just run this again, just set this one, and we should have a lower limit. That is a little bit this. I will be able in the end actually to trigger on the longest PRBS pattern. In the end, it will give me a very stable trigger. And if you set up like this, I will be able to do like a pattern analysis, for example. So let's see where I can put the 550. So for example, let's go to this one. Let's go here. Let's go to a little bit more record length. And this is the beauty of this. We have the pattern. We can see that we have a couple of these here marked up to repeating patterns. And if I go to analyze now and do a select here, I can do a time interval error. I can look at that versus time, for example, versus time, and I do an eye diagram. So I do single now. So I will measure this, and I have a correlation between the pattern and the time trend, for example. If there was something that is relevant for pattern, you can see the eye is kind of open. So these are the things that you can do. It's really nice, and of course, as I had done in my previous video, we have the results over here. So I can see the location and description, and actually measure the width for me. So these are the ones with the 600 picosecond, which is the longest one. And you can see the repeating pattern is 1.31678 picosecond between them. So that's the first thing I like about this. The other thing that is working also as an extra feature for people who have a problem with frequency, we also thrown in a counter, a frequency counter, and that's that is really nice. I just put it in and I put a run. Start a counter, and I'm not sure if you can see it really clear here now in the picture. I will try to make this a little bit zoom off. And we can actually go to vertical setup and just don't display it. So you can see that we're measuring the frequency here. So for people measuring high frequency and wonder, a high, some of the frequency counter could be expensive and they're really high up end, and it's really hard to connect. You get like a connect this BNC or SMA cable, In this case, if you're using the 33 gig channels, you can apply any probe to it so that you can solder in. So this is all for me. Maybe the last thing I would like to say is that together with all the triggering that you've seen here before, there's also this Vishal Trigger. So don't forget it. So we go back here. I can just zoom on just to show you that one again. We have zoom, resize. So for example, looking at something that is a little bit odd in a odd resize, we can go to the trigger main event again, and we trigger on edge. Now we should trigger on width. We can actually use the Vishal Trigger here to trigger on, you know, uncertainties even on the packet. So if we resize this one, so if you know that you have this one, for example, you can see from time to time there's a peak up here. So if I draw a little box here and I say Vishal Trigger, add Vishal Trigger area, I will now only trigger on the port when these, you know, when it's intersecting here. So it's a complete way for you to really, with good confidence, you know, trigger and have a stable trigger even at these really fast data rates. Thank you.